In my very first playthrough of Elden Ring, I made a discovery. I came upon a class of weapons known as colossal swords, and after seeing what they could do, I was hooked. I didn't use any other weapon for the rest of my time playing the game. Even while I was unlocking every achievement, I still exclusively used colossal swords. Eventually, I'd come to the realization that I'd missed a bunch of the game by only using one kind of weapon. There was a completely different Elden Ring that I hadn't even seen, so I took it upon myself to replay Elden Ring using only sorceries. But before the run starts, subscribe. I appreciate every single one of you that does and already has. I also have a Discord that I linked in the description. Check that out if you haven't already. I started off in the Chapel of Anticipation, like all players do when they make a new save file. The prisoner class really came in clutch for the boosted intellect and the glintstone staff. I almost attempted the grafted scion too, but someone grabbed my controller and I somehow ran off the edge. Don't know how that happened. I spawned back in, got told that I have no hope in finding a woman, and then talked to Melina, who gifted me with the spectral steed Torrent. This is the point where I began to follow a step-by-step guide that I made to collect smithing stones. While I collected these stones, I managed to swing by a good old Smorog and grab Reliable the Academy Glintstone Key to get into the Academy of Raya Lucaria later. I ventured around the world to get some of the sorceries and other materials I would need. I had to complete quests, wander around a big red rotten swamp, and climb up ladders among other things. But after getting everything that I needed, I made my way to Margit. Oh my goodness. Double dodge? Come on. You're so close. No, why would you do that randomly, brother? Nice. No. No! My goodness. Yes! Yes! Let's go, man! Margit wasn't too hard. I'd leveled a decent amount of equipment at this point, so that made the fight a lot easier. I figured out that the Carrion Slicer would definitely carry me through the early game. It had low FP usage and dealt tons of damage, so it was perfect. At this point though, I realized that levels might get kinda hard to come by, so that presented a bit of a problem. The solution? This. It's not cheating, cause technically the sword does magic damage. Anyway, with some extra levels and a whole lot of traveling, I grabbed some extra memory stones so I could use a large variety of spells in the middle of a fight. What I didn't know was how hard and gruesomely aggressive a putrid avatar can violate every human right known to man by simply slapping me with his over-decorated stick. I did manage to grab all the memory stones I would need, and after collecting all that, I ran, jumped, and rolled to Godrick. Oh man. Run, 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 run. Run away. Bro, there's no way I first try him, right? Oh crap. I canceled it. What?
I am the Lord of all that is golden.
I see why magic builds are so good now. All I had to do was literally just tickle Godrick to death, and I just scraped into the balloons after he died. A quick first try made for some easy winnings, but I'd soon find that not every boss was quite this easy. You see, there are 2 bosses in the very near future that would cause a lot of trouble. One of those was Scooby-Doo, the magical red dog, the other being Renalla. First things first though, I had some upgrading to do. After upgrading my weapon the best I could, I arrived at the academy to fight the Red Wolf. Ready for that one. Ouch. Bruh. Okay, we're cool then. That was my last one. That's so stupid. What? Let's go! Let's go, man! It seemed like these bosses were just getting easier. I was collecting more cash than Mr. Krabs, all with just a measly magic staff. And at this point in the run, I unlocked an area where I could grab an extra glintstone key, which I could use to give to Thop, who gives me an emote that I can use at the converted Fringe Tower, which in turn unlocks the Cannon and Gavel of Haima, 2 of the best sorceries in the game. And of course, I had to test them out on a boss. That was my opportunity. What? Oh my goodness. With the Misbegotten in shambles, I had 2 crystal tears I needed to collect. Bro, these things are just too easy. I've played them so many times. Too easy. Nice. Easy, dude. Come on, man. There it is. There it is. With all my new abilities and buffs, I charged my way to Renalla, but first I had to fight this guy. The most infamous enemy we got, but no one ever wanted because I get absolutely abused every time I try to fight him. But after a little bit of baiting, he ended up dying to fall damage like a total loser, and I opened the door to Renalla. As soon as the fight started, I got to smacking the weirdos with my magic wand. This was the easy part. The hard part was figuring out how I was going to do more damage than the equivalent of beating someone over the head with an oversized axolotl. My first idea was to go level up my weapon. Here's how that went. My next idea was to use a summon that could stun Renalla. What? A summon? You can't do that! So I used the summon and it did help, but I died with this much of the health bar left. Which is great, that's fine. Totally fine! So back to the drawing board. I went to Celia, where I'd already been to collect one of the spells. I was here to get Lusat's Glintstone Staff. Although it does increase how much FP I use, it boosts damage coming from sorceries, which is going to be huge in this run. Karia Manor was the next step. Loretta had a sorcery that I needed, and there wasn't anything that she could do to stop me from getting it.
Let's go! Let's go, man! Let's go!
Loretta's great bow will have a ton of use later in the run, but for now, I was focused on talking to Ronnie to progress her questline. With Loretta's great bow, a much more powerful sorcery, I could finally beat the boss in between me and the Altus Plateau. And now that I had access to Altus, Radahn's festival is able to be activated, and I can get some extra levels to help me progress against Renalla.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
Radahn wasn't as easy as I thought he was going to be. Even though I was using the summons all around the arena, using exclusively sorceries made this fight extremely difficult. After multiple tries though, Radahn fell.
Let's go, man! Let's go! Let's go!
I did need extra levels, so Radahn played a huge part in me getting into the underground area of Elden Ring, where I'd find Mimic Tier Ashes and the Fingerslayer Blade, an item used to further progress Ranni's questline. Once the Fingerslayer Blade was given to Ranni, I had access to the Carrion Study Hall, where I'd find the Stargazer Heirloom for +5 intelligence. Mimic Tier was clutch for Renalla. Since I was almost exclusively using Rock Sling, it was only a matter of time before Renalla died.
Yes! Yes! Let's go, man! Let's go! Let's go!
With Renalla dead and almost a third of the run out of the way, it was time to get some extra levels.
Let's go.
Lanedale was the next destination I had marked, and the only thing blocking my way into the medieval city was the Draconic Tree Sentinel. In order to get past him though, I came up with a strategy. Once I collected all the items I needed, I beat Draconic Tree Sentinel.
Come on. Dead. Let's go, man! Let's go! Let's go!
After fighting the Tree Sentinel, I realized some more smithing stones were going to be needed if I planned on fighting any bosses in the late game. And after that 5 seconds it took to get all those upgrades, I faced off against the first Godfrey. Like I said, I missed out on a lot, but nevertheless, without a minute to lose, Morgott had a bounty to be claimed.
Graceless, tarnished. Pillagers, emboldened by the flame of ambition. Felled by King Morgott, last of all kings. not be forgiven.
He must have gotten some kind of stage 5 brain damage after our first fight, because this bro really just walked around and tried to smack me with his spear. Although it wasn't a first try, the boss fight was a lot easier because of how highly leveled my staff was. But that benefit only lasts for so long. The Mountaintops of the Giants had a different plan in mind. There was only one boss I needed to fight on the Mountaintops, that being the one and only Fire Giant. But in the end, we made it through the frustration and killed the Fire Giant. And what better way to celebrate than burning a whole tree down? So we teleported to a Tornado Ruins type sky island, Crumbling Farum, Azula, where the level scaling is, well, yeah, pretty bad. But that wasn't even the worst part. You know how annoying Fire Giant is? Yeah. Name the boss Godskin Duo, and you have the next boss I had to fight. And the best part about it was that I forgot to press record. So yep, you can just watch me stand AFK instead. In order to continue on to the final 3 bosses of Elden Ring, there was a beast in the way. This boss has caused me the most trouble in every single one of my playthroughs. The first phase was a problem of its own. Mimic Tier was only able to do so much. Without a way to truly stun the beast clergyman, dealing any sort of significant damage was difficult. I eventually figured out that the range of Night Comet was the way to go, and after a few attempts, the second phase was activated.
In the first age, in the first battle, when the shadows first lengthened, one stood. He chose the path of perpetual torment. In his ravenous hatred, he found no peace, and with boiling blood, he scoured the umbral plains, seeking vengeance against the Dark Lords who had wronged him. And those that tasted the bite of his sword named him the Doomslayer.
After my arrival to the fallen Elden Kingdom of Leyndell, I took the same path I'd taken previously towards the Erd Tree that was now burning down. Meeting Gideon on the way, well, it was more of one of those things where you just mollywopped him with some of the sorceries and dipped. It wasn't really a fight. I'm not gonna lie, Gideon has been bullied by every player in the game, and if you struggled with Gideon, let me know in the comments so I can personally uninstall the game for you. Godfrey is a behemoth of a boss, and believe it or not, the first phase isn't even the worst part. Horaloo caused an innumerable amount of problems because this dude has apparently never heard of a personal space bubble. I just couldn't get enough space to move around. So I died, and died, and died, and died, and died, and eventually, I died. But on one lucky attempt, through all the blood, sweat, and tears, we beat Godfrey.
Tarnished. Thy strength befits same crown.
The final boss was in our midst. Radahn of the Golden Order challenged us for the Elden Throne. We beat Radahn first try. The only thing, Elden Beast was the second phase. Getting that far first try was really good, but that's about as far as I got. I couldn't seem to lower Elden Beast's health much more than that, and I sometimes couldn't even get past Radahn. So it was back to the drawing board. Remember how I started Ronnie's questline earlier? Well, this is where it comes in handy. I'd been debating about whether or not I should allow myself to follow through with this plan, but what kind of sorcery only run would this be if I didn't use the sorcery that takes the longest to get and use it? But that wasn't the only thing I pummeled Estelle for. There was a weapon that wasn't a sorcery, or even any kind of incantation that I was after. It wasn't a shield or another staff. It was the greatest intelligence weapon that only Ronnie could give us, and that weapon was the Moonlight Greatsword. Leafy Boom, you can't use a sword because it's not a sorcery.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
With the Moonlight Greatsword, I maxed its level and acquired Adula's Moonblade from the great Glintstone Dragon Adula. And with all the right equipment, I was prepared for the end. is how I beat Elden Ring using only sorceries. Subscribe to support the channel and like the video. Be sure to check out my Discord in the description because we're pretty active there. I appreciate every single one of you that watched this video, and I'll see you around. Later.
Fallen leaves tell a story of how a tarnished became Elden Lord. In our home, across the fog, the lands between.